Hello everybody, welcome back to Daj Gaming. Today I am playing Season 3. Just let me go through this prosperity calculator. So basically we have the 3 levels of insulae, 3 levels of Damas, and then the 9 levels of partition housing. Now each building gets its own rating, and then basically what you do is you average out the ratings of the buildings by adding up all the ratings of the building and dividing by the number of buildings you have. So that gives us at the moment a 25 prosperity rating. If you add in 2 large Damases to the 5 large insulates we had as an example, we get 27.8 prosperity. Then if you add in 1 large estate, you get a 51.8 prosperity, and obviously we need 50 for Caralis. Now, I had to start again because I completely royally fucked up the last attempt at Caralis. So I recorded this, I've speeded it up by 4 times, and the main issue we had last time was that I tried to build around the farmland. I looked at a couple of walkthroughs just to aid me a bit, and I worked out that in fact you don't need to do that. There's enough farmland, you can build on it. I'm just checking the water here because the problem we had last time with space is that the reservoir, the villas needed to be within the reservoir, and I'm just testing out spaces between the roads there. So yeah, we can build on a farmland. We've got plenty of farmland. You'll see later on that we didn't need anywhere near the amount of farms that I had in the first Caralis playthrough. I'm just working out the block that we're going to be building things in, so I'm making sure we can fit because we're going to need 5 medium estates. We're going to need 8 large insulates, and we're going to need, well, it said 6, but I used 5 medium Damases. And the thing with Damases is, we're just testing out spacing for now, and placing a couple down now. The thing with Damases is that to go above medium in size, they need city walls. But you know, we don't need to do that because we're not in a military one, so there's no point doing that. Now I've just put the 3 markets down: the goods market, the basic goods, the luxury goods, and the food market, just so then we can get them ready. There's a space from near the housing. Basically, I'm just going to get down all of the basic buildings. We're going to have a shrine to Jupiter. We're going to have a tax office. We're going to have a prefecture. We're going to have an odium, which is like where poets and stuff go and recite. But we're going to mothball a few of these in just a second because we don't need to have all of these at the same time. Obviously, a fountain down for the water access. By the way, the game is paused as well. Interestingly, Damases don't need direct access to reservoir water like villas do, but they need city walls to feel protected, whereas villas don't. It's a bit of an odd one. So here we go. We're going to start with our farms now. So we're going to put 2 grain farms and 2 vegetable farms, which means obviously 4 grain fields and 4 vegetable fields. And I think that's all of the grain and vegetable for the entire map. I don't think I put any more down. Obviously, last time we put like 4 farms, and no, it's like 3 farms and 6 fields for each, or it was utterly ridiculous the way we did it. So obviously granary's down, and I've unpaused it now, people are moving in. Here we go, we're just mothballing a few of these whilst we don't have the workforce to maintain them. Just put down a clinic as well, because we obviously need a clinic for health reasons. So I haven't followed this exactly to the walkthrough that I was reading. I wanted it to be a little bit of my own. Just basically how much of everything to put down is all that I've actually done. Now we're going to start. The first thing you need to do is start. I put sheep farms down because they take a long time to get the clothing, to get the wool to make clothing, and clothing is obviously a basic good, and that's what we're going to use to increase our insulates. But as you can see, I'm putting down like pottery factories as well, and clay pits, and that's going to be our first export. And you'll see me set up the trade route for that in a second. Here we go. We go Sisyphene Goldie, I think it's called, and we're just going to put trade down. Sisyphene Gold. Just put a trade route down there. It's a bit far away. In hindsight, it could have been closer, but it worked out fine in the end. And we've got a couple of pottery factories, and we've got a clay pits. We're now going to build a weapons factory. Basically, that Sisyphene Gaul port, we're going to be selling pottery and we're going to be buying iron. And now the iron is going to be used purely to make weapons. throughout this entire scenario. So you buy essentially. I'm just setting these warehouses up so then this warehouse is near the housing, so it's going to have the basic goods, only the basic goods, so it doesn't get clogged up with anything else. And then I'll set up another warehouse in a bit later on for other goods, like for instance, there you go, warehouse down, and it's going to be for imports and stuff that we're going to need throughout the whole thing. Yes, so we're going to be importing iron, which is relatively cheap, and then exporting weapons at a massive profit. That's how the economics of this is going to work, basically. We'll do the same for pottery. We can get clay for free, so we make pottery. I apologise for the rain sounds, they're incredibly annoying. Also, you'll notice that there's no background music anymore. That is simply because, for some reason, there's a timber factory down for the weapons factory and timber factory. Timber cutting place, because you need wood to make weapons. Yeah, basically, my YouTube videos YouTube kept picking up having used licensed music without permission, but that music that it was recognising externally was the what I think it was on iTunes. It was the soundtrack to this game. It was recognised it on iTunes, and it was basically saying that I'd downloaded it on iTunes and then put it as a music overlay to this video, whereas in fact it's just the background music to this video. It's incredibly weird, but I'll just turn the music off just to be safe. I don't want any copyright blacklists. So we've got our clothes factory down now because we've got some wool. We had some clothing building up. Wool building up, and we should start seeing some increase in the level of insulate housing now. Well, in February, you can see we're in January at the moment, and it occurs just in February. We haven't bothered with patrician housing yet, and we haven't put all of the masses in yet because we just don't need that kind of pressure. We got a lot of iron very quickly, and it drained our resources. I didn't set the iron very well, and it drained our resources immediately. But as you can see, the insulators are getting bigger now. Then they're moving up. Okay, so every April, well, this is actually February, but at the beginning of every year, Caesar demands a tribute of 750 gold. Now, obviously, with such a high favour needed, we wanted to try and, where we could, send the goods or the money to Rome, but where we couldn't, not worry about it, and not get too stressed about it. You'll see later on that we had a real problem with pottery. We didn't have enough, ever, because he wanted 40 and we only had like 5. I'm just testing spacing for the patrician housing. Putting a couple more damasses down, just as we get as we open up the Odeon and the tax office and stuff, because they're going to be run by that middle class person. So we're going to be putting down a wine factory now, and we put some vineyards down. You just saw me do that a minute ago, and that's going to be the luxury good that we're going to start off with. Just changing the iron, because I couldn't get this iron quite right, and we just kept on getting a massive chunk of iron. Eventually I just decided to stop selling it. That hasn't happened yet. I'll trigger that. I'll tell you that when I trigger that. Oh. That sounded hilarious. I hadn't heard that bit before, I'm sorry. But that sounds fantastic. That was me just checking all the ratings and stuff. Putting down another warehouse. This is for the wine. It's just for the wine. Actually, it's for luxury goods. I'll just leave it open for luxury goods, I think. Just so that we can keep things at luxury goods separate from basic goods, separate from import and export goods. And it just makes it easy to manage that way. Incidentally, in the future, on Fridays, which is Dad's Tries, I'll be playing Sandbox of Season 3 if I can get a copy of it, because all my copies are scratched up and they won't install now. But I should be able to get a digital copy somewhere. And also I've got Pharaoh with a Cleopatra, with the Cleopatra expansion, which is basically the Egyptian version of this. It actually came out a little bit later, so there's quite a lot of improvements. And there's quite a lot of interesting dynamic changes between Rome and Egypt. But I'll show you them when we get around to those. So I'll put some olive farms down now, but you'll notice that I did not put an olive oil factory down. That's a mistake. That should be going down right now if you're following this along, but it doesn't because I'm an idiot. So a couple more clay digging camps, more squiggly talking. You see, we've already put there. Whilst I was talking before about the music, in the south of this map on the coast, we already put down the. You can just see it there in the bottom. It's another clothes factory going down now. You would put that trade port, which is selling weapons, the weapons that we make from the iron that we import. So it's a direct import-export. None of those weapons are any use to our city. So you can see I've left that space near the reservoir for the patrician housing. Oh, upgrade on Damas, is it? They're all evolving, which is fantastic. Now we only need mediums, we don't need them to go any higher, which is fine. And once one's upgraded, you know you've got the resources to upgrade the rest. You just have to wait for those resources to reach the other houses. That's pretty much how it works. All that green smoke coming out of that Damas is actually malaria. But unlike Caesar 3, where if a population becomes diseased, they actually get wiped out. In Caesar 4, it just you just wait for the clinic to arrive, I guess. I don't know how it really works. Now we're putting some separate farms over to the left here. That's the cow farm, and we're going to put a couple of cow pastures down with a separate granary specifically for the meat, so we don't mix up the meat and the vegetable. I mean, we have a little bit of vegetable and grain overflow, so I decided to put them in there as well. But meat is the third food, and patricians require a third type of food. That's why we're putting those down. We're stockpiling wine because Caesar wanted wine, and we're putting down some more graveyards. No, what are they called? Grapevines. Additionally, we're going to put down another wine factory. Just delete some of this woods. We don't need it. And there's another wine factory there, just so we can increase our wine. And you can see those people were sitting in the wine. Out of hatred drunk wine in Roman times because they use their feet to squash it, and I have a horrendous. It's not like a fear, because there's nothing to be afraid of, but I just don't like feet at all. I wouldn't have gone anywhere near it, if I'm honest. So yeah, bathhouse down, because they obviously need a high level of hygiene that clinics just don't provide. So it's bathhouse down, and that covers the entire city, which is fantastic. We've got the Odeon for entertainment. We will need some more entertainment in the future. I think it's probably about time we can put some more patrician housing down, actually, so we will. We can put another one down next to it. Now this is the arena. We didn't see this last time, but we will need the arena, and we will need a gladiators guild. So I'm cautious of because at the top here is obviously where all the masses are going. So I don't want to make it undesirable for the middle classes, but at the same time they get the entertainment to compensate for that, along with the patricians do. Checking everything again. Should always check your revisers. They know everything. So here we go, Damascus going down, and that's all the Damascus going down. There's 5 of them there, just linking them all up. And as you can see, we've used so much of this farmland, and I think we've built as much as we're ever going to build in terms of farms. So there was really no need for us to put down hundreds and hundreds, well not hundreds, but dozens and dozens of farms, and try and restrict our non-farm buildings to non-farm land, which you don't need to do, and I won't be doing that in the future, and hopefully that should mean we get it done a lot quicker, because this Caralis episode this particular one took me 1 hour and 20 minutes, and I've condensed it down by speeding it up for you. Obviously I released 4? Is it 4 or 3? 30-40 minute episodes previously, and we were nowhere near finishing. You know, I recorded another one after that you haven't seen, where I realised I'd royally fucked it up, so you still haven't seen that, and I was still nowhere near finishing after that, because I had to have scrapped so much to start it again. So I mean, this is how you're supposed to do it, and I got this from the walkthrough basically. So you can check out Caesar. If you type Caesar 4 into Google, you get Caesar 4 Heaven, I think it's called, which is a website, and they have kind of the prosperity calculators on there, and you can have like all the walkthroughs are on there for the missions. It's a really useful resource. Just checking what we need to upgrade the patrician housing. Checking our finances as well. Now, our construction is basically the massive one here. You can see construction is just outrageous. Sorry, if it's going too fast, obviously you can pause it. So when I say construction's too high, you can then pause it, check what the construction line is, and press play again. If you want to do that. We're just going to pay all our tributes. We can't pay that pottery. That was a request. The other request was a request for pottery. We're never going to be able to send those off, so that's fine. So you can see we've got the large insulators, we've got the medium Damascus now. So all we need to do is upgrade our patrician housing to the medium. Now, it's quite easy to upgrade them to from small villas to medium villas to large villas, and then it's past that you need things like exotic goods. And you actually need exotic goods to get the small estates, but we need medium estates, which means they need 2 types of exotic goods. And additionally, we're in the year 157 BC. In April 157 BC, you're going to be invaded by barbarians, and you need to pay them off with $1,500, which looks unlikely. Oh, maybe it's next year. Maybe it's 156 BC. Excellent research. Now, see, this particular port is filling up with all of our spare grapes. We've got loads and loads of spare grapes in these vineyards, and we've still got plenty of wine. That's keeping everything else evolved nicely. So we've got so many spare grapes, and you can see our money's going up quite nicely as well. I don't know what that was. I can't remember what that was, what I put down there. Trying to look at the other buildings and work out what it is, but I just can't remember. Oh, that's the olive factory that I didn't place down before. Right, so now we're just going to completely focus on our patrician housing from now on. All we need to do is upgrade those. First of all, we need to place we've only got 2 so far, so we need to place the 5. We've just started importing perfume from the same place that we're selling grapes to, which is pretty good. I mean, it'll rinse your money. It'll absolutely rinse your money because they're super expensive, but they're worth it. And we've already got the exotic goods market, which we had mothballed, and we just unmothballed there. And a lot of this game is just waiting. So I'm putting down the extra villas here, and then you just wait. You wait for the perfume to come in, and you're waiting for the people to come to the villas. There's not a lot else to do but wait. Sometimes you can flick it onto fast mode. There you go. So all these houses are just evolving now with the basic goods that we already had. I mean basic goods as in the things we had there anyway, not actually basic goods, although they do need those as well. So now they're all occupied, and we're just putting down a library for education, and then we're going to evolve again into medium villas and large villas. Now, desirability is an issue with these patrician housing as well. So you have to make sure you've got enough space around them to upgrade, to put down just hedges and plazas and all that kind of crap. If you isolate them, or if you put them in a really blocky, we've got a really blocky city, but if you were to surround them with like farms and factories and stuff, and have no space to improve desirability, you'd have an issue because they just wouldn't. Factories would just lower the desirability a lot. So prosperity is at 40, favours a bit. It's at 36 there. We need 50, but we can just buy our way to that. So all we're literally waiting for now is to upgrade these all the way to medium villas, and that's all it's. Yeah. So here we go. It's April 156 BC. Looks like, or somewhere around here, that we're going to get the barbarians. Okay, maybe it's not. Maybe we already did that. Yeah, and additionally, money comes into it as well. So if your money drops below 0, your prosperity will decrease a lot. You basically won't have any. But as soon as you go back into the black, into the positive figures again, then your prosperity will then become only dependent on your level of housing. And because we put the theatre down, and we've got the Odeum, and we've got the arena, all we need, our culture is fine, I believe. If not, we're going to put something else down in a little while. So we're just going to open up a trade route to bring in, which one am I going to choose? Yeah, the one with the salt. So put down this trade port, if I can. And we're just going to start selling wine, because we've got an excess of it, and then we're going to buy salt as well. Well, we will buy salt eventually. Yeah. We really have got an excess of wine, so, and that's where we're going to make a lot of our money now. In the future, guys, obviously, I'll probably make episodes this way, But what I'll do is I'll split something like Caralis, where it takes an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'll split it into 2 episodes and then speed each one up maybe by 3. So it still lasts between about 20-25 minutes the episode. But I don't have to sort of rush talk, which is what I'm doing now. Just for Caralis, I wanted to get it done. It's taken too long, it really has. So now that we're moving on to these missions that take longer, and potentially I'm not very good at, not potentially, that's absolutely the truth. We will, I'll probably do it this way, where I'll speed the whole entire episode up and talk you through it. But it won't be, this is times 4, condensed for an hour and just over like an hour and 20 minutes to just over 20 minutes. And I'll probably just condense it down to times 3 and split the whole recording in 2. So then it'll still be about 20 to 25 minutes each episode. That's probably about right. So as you can see, we're moving up in the villas now. These are all small villas at the moment. And what it's telling us we need is justice. So we put down, oh no, that's an extra theatre up there. So then we can, there's 2 theatres now, and 2 actor guilds, so we've got a nice coverage, and we put down this forum, and that provides something called justice, which they look for. And here you go, you can see they're upgraded now. And they're all medium. So now all we need to do is buy our way to... Ta-da! Awesome. So now we just have to pick the next mission. Now, that was an economic mission, so we're going to pick this particular mission, Terraco, which is the military mission. We do have Corinth, which is a culture, which is essentially an economic mission, but we're going to pick Terraco. Let's jump in. So we're going to have 20 culture, 50 security, 25 prosperity, 30 favour, and a population of 1,000, which is easily done. Now, security of 50 is going to be the issue here. Obviously, it wasn't in the last mission. Let's jump in and see what we've got to work with now. All clay pits already. It's a very small piece of land. There's not a lot of farmland, if I'm honest, so... Cool, let me just save it, and, well, yeah, thanks for watching, and as always, subscribe. Thanks very much. Bye!